So today, I want to discuss something that I believe changes everything about this war. And I mean everything, because up until now, most people have operated under a very specific assumption. They assumed that Iran is fighting this war alone, isolated, surrounded, outmatched, surprised by the speed and scale of what has happened. But that assumption is now completely outdated, completely wrong, because Iran is no longer alone. Yemen has just entered this war, and not symbolically, not politically, not with statements of solidarity or diplomatic gestures, militarily. The Houthi movement, which effectively controls the most strategic parts of Yemen, has launched one of the largest attacks in their history. And this changes the entire geometry of the conflict. Let me explain why this matters so much. Yemen sits on one of the most important maritime choke points in the entire world, the Bab al-Mandab Strait. That narrow passage between the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa, through which a massive portion of global trade flows every single day. Tankers carrying oil, container ships carrying manufactured goods, bulk carriers carrying food and raw materials. And what the Houthis are now demonstrating is very simple. They can threaten to shut it down, not necessarily close it completely forever, but disrupt it enough that insurance rates skyrocket, shipping companies reroute, and global supply chains begin to crack. And if that happens, if that choke point is seriously disrupted at the same time that the Strait of Hormuz is under threat from Iran, then this war changes completely, not gradually, but suddenly. This is the moment where the structure of the war shifts. And once you understand what Yemen's entry actually means, not emotionally, but structurally, you begin to see something much more dangerous taking shape. This is no longer just a regional conflict. This is the beginning of a multi-front pressure system that could reshape the entire outcome of this war. So let me give you some context about Yemen, because most people in the West, most people in America, look at Yemen and they think a small, poor, broken country. It has been bombed for years. It is devastated. It has one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. What can it possibly do to the most powerful military in the world? And this is exactly the kind of thinking that has gotten America into this trap in the first place. Let me tell you what Yemen actually did. For 7 years, Saudi Arabia waged a genocidal war against Yemen. And this was not Saudi Arabia alone. The entire weight of Western support was behind that war. America was patrolling the Red Sea. America was providing intelligence, targeting assistance, and mid-air refueling for Saudi warplanes. America was helping create a food blockade and a medicine blockade around Yemen. There are credible reports from American military personnel themselves who say they stopped small boats trying to bring medicine into Yemen. They found medicine on those boats and they dumped it into the sea. Think about that for a moment. They took medicine meant for sick and dying people and they threw it into the ocean. That is the level of strangulation Yemen was facing. And with all of that, with Saudi Arabia's unlimited oil wealth, with Western military support, with 7 years of relentless bombing that destroyed hospitals, schools, markets, and water treatment facilities, Yemen did not fall. Yemen did not surrender. And what finally forced a ceasefire was not Yemen giving up. What forced the ceasefire was Yemen striking Saudi oil and gas installations so effectively, so precisely, and so painfully that Saudi Arabia simply could not continue. Yemen won that war. A small, poor, blockaded, starving country defeated Saudi Arabia and forced America to declare victory and walk away. That is who has just entered this war. And here is what you need to understand about Yemen today versus Yemen 7 years ago. Yemen has spent those years every single day developing its military capabilities. Just like Iran spent 25 years preparing for this exact conflict, just like Hezbollah spent years rebuilding after every Israeli attack, the West has a consistent pattern of underestimating these forces and then being shocked when they perform far beyond anything predicted. We saw it with Hezbollah. Everyone said Hezbollah is finished. Hezbollah is degraded, Hezbollah is no longer a major force, and now Hezbollah is striking harder than before. We saw it with Iran. The war was supposed to end in a day or two. Then they said a few days to destroy Iran's missile and drone capabilities. And now, after a full month of sustained strikes, Iran's missile and drone capabilities are increasing in effectiveness, not decreasing. The same underestimation is happening with Yemen right now, and it will produce the same result. So let us think about what Yemen can actually do. I want to be very specific here because the strategic picture is crucial. Yemen controls access to the Red Sea. The Red Sea is one of the most important trade routes in the entire world. Approximately 12 to 15% of all global trade passes through it. If Yemen closes the Red Sea, and it has the demonstrated capability to do this through anti-ship missiles, naval mines, drones, and fast attack boats, then you do not just have the Strait of Hormuz being threatened by Iran, you now have two critical choke points of global trade under threat simultaneously. The Strait of Hormuz in the east, the Red Sea in the west, two choke points, two fronts, one trap. But it goes even further than trade routes. Yemen can strike Saudi oil installations directly. It has done this before very effectively with drones and cruise missiles that got through American and Saudi air defenses, and if Yemen strikes those installations again, Saudi oil exports stop. Now combine that with Iran controlling the Strait of Hormuz, threatening to close it, or simply making it too dangerous to transit, and what you get is a scenario where the global oil supply is hit from multiple directions at the same time. We are already hearing from serious financial analysts that oil at $150 a barrel is possible if this continues. Some are saying $200. Think about what that means for the global economy. Think about what that means for America, an economy propped up by cheap energy and Gulf state investment. When energy is no longer cheap and Gulf states are no longer stable, that entire system comes under enormous stress. And then there is one more dimension to Yemen's role that almost nobody is discussing. Yemen could enter Saudi Arabia from the southwest. Yemen shares a long, porous border with Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia, let me be very direct about this, cannot fight. 7 years of war against Yemen proved this conclusively. Despite its enormous wealth, despite its American weapons, despite complete air superiority, Saudi Arabia could not defeat a blockaded, starving country. Its military was humiliated repeatedly. Its cities were hit, its economy was damaged. And now, with Iraqi resistance forces threatening from the north, with Iran threatening from the east across the Persian Gulf, and with Yemen threatening from the south, the entire Arabian Peninsula is in play. Think about this carefully because it gets to the heart of what a multi-front trap means strategically. If America is fighting Iran in the Persian Gulf and Yemen is threatening the Red Sea and Iraq's resistance forces are striking American bases, which they already are doing on a near daily basis, how many fronts can even the most powerful military in the world fight at the same time? Where does America send its interceptor missiles? It has a limited number of interceptors. We already know this from public statements and from the math of previous conflicts. We have already discussed how a single Iranian ballistic missile is being targeted by 11 American interceptors, all of which have been missing according to multiple reports. Interceptors cost between $3 and $10 million each. Iran's missiles cost far less. Iran's drones cost around $50,000. Yemen's weapons are similarly cheap, and now you have Yemen firing from the west, Iran firing from the east, Iraqi resistance firing from the north. Every missile America fires at Yemen is a missile it cannot fire at Iran. Every interceptor used in the Red Sea is an interceptor missing from the Persian Gulf. Every dollar spent on multiple fronts accelerates the financial unsustainability of this entire war. This is the trap, and America walked right into it. Now, I want to talk about something very important that most people are ignoring. What is actually happening on the battlefield right now, beyond what the mainstream media is reporting? America has lost ground-based radar systems in the region. It is now much more reliant on airborne radar, what are called AWACS aircraft, surveillance planes that fly above the battlefield and provide radar coverage for all air operations. And one of these aircraft, an E-3 Sentry AWACS, was destroyed at an American base in Saudi Arabia, according to multiple open-source intelligence reports. These are extraordinarily expensive aircraft. America does not have many of them. Many of they are indispensable for coordinating air operations, tracking enemy aircraft, managing the battle space, and one is gone. Also, aerial tanker aircraft, the KC-135s that refuel American fighter jets in midair, several have been destroyed or damaged. Why does this matter? Because American aircraft are maintaining a safe distance from Iranian air defenses. They cannot conduct sustained bombing campaigns without refueling in the air. Lose tanker aircraft and you lose the ability to sustain air campaigns at range. These are not small tactical losses. These are strategic losses that reduce American operational capacity in ways that cannot be quickly replaced. And here's the deeper problem. America's military-industrial complex is designed to produce very expensive weapon systems slowly over many years. It is not designed to rapidly replace losses in a real war. The F-35 took 26 years to develop. You cannot replace F-35s quickly. The Gerald Ford aircraft carrier cost $13 billion and took years to build. Iran, on the other hand, is producing drones in dispersed, decentralized factories across the country. You cannot destroy them all, and they cost $50,000 each. The mathematics of this exchange are devastating for America over time. And now Yemen adds another layer of drain on American resources and interceptor stockpiles. Let us address the ground troop question directly, because this is being discussed seriously in strategic circles, and I want to give you an honest analysis.